Do you ever just sit back and think, what is this life? What is all this? Who am I? Why do I exist? Just sit back and just appreciate what life is. And I don't know if we can figure it out. I don't know if we're meant to figure it out. But I remember all the time when I was younger, I was I don't know, I was like 5 or 6 years old, and I would always just catch myself looking in the mirror, trying to observe myself. I couldn't even fathom what a human was. I was looking at myself, trying to figure out, what is this? And I was just astounded at it. Because as a child, I didn't have any built up memory. I was fresh. I was blank. And when we're a child, we're really curious about things. We're really open to things. We're not so set in our ways. But then we grow up and we adopt routines, we adopt habits, we pick up trauma. And as we ingrain those over time, it's really hard to break out of them. I've been so deep in my routine lately that I haven't really had the chance to sit back and think, what is life? What is it? I just wake up, go to work. There's a tail's going by. I just wake up, go to work, go coach volleyball, come back here, and just repeat it over again. But my girlfriend was watching one of the games that I was coaching, and she said she was sitting in the stands and she just started getting hit with this out-of-body experience. I think she said something like she couldn't stop thinking about all these people. How did they get to this place? How are we at the same place at the same time? And she said it was freaking her out. If you really sit and you really try to figure out what this life is, you might get freaked out. Our ego doesn't like that. Our identity doesn't like to be challenged. But our identity is built up from the past. And we're not children anymore. We're operating on all these things from the past. And because of that, I would say that life isn't real. It exists up here. Yes, there are things out there in the physical, but up here creates the meaning of what's out there. And up here is just a collection of memories of the past, of identities that we picked up from the past, of trauma that we picked up from the past. We're constantly recreating and reliving the past over and over and over again. But it's subconscious. We're not aware that it's going on. But if you really sit back and you observe, the same patterns are happening, and you can look back and you can see, oh, I picked it up in this instance. I had this really emotional experience, and that's why I act like this now. And it's happening on an individual level, and it's happening on a collective level. What exists for us as a collective is the collective memory of the entire civilization that we exist in. And so that's why we want to make these changes as a society, but we can't really break out and make these changes. Because to pull ourselves out of the past and really create a new future, I think things have to stop. I know when COVID happened, I got a lot of time to myself, and I could really sit back and think about, what do I want to do in life? And I had that quiet time to myself. It's like when a road needs fixed, when there's damage, when there's potholes in the road needs to be closed at some point to fix them. Road work needs to be done. And if you just keep letting cars drive over it, you're not going to really fix the road. Society can't really be fixed until we pull ourselves out of our routines, out of our habits, and really just think about shit for a second. Because a lot of shit to me doesn't make sense. Our way of living doesn't make sense to me. The whole healthcare system, I've just been thinking about a lot, and that shit doesn't make sense to me at all. There's got to be a different way. Obviously, we're getting more hip to natural healing, right? But there's got to be different ways to heal besides spending money on drugs, beefing up pharmaceutical companies that really don't have our best interest at heart. I honestly think if everything is vibration, if everything is frequency, and it really is, it's all these atoms vibrating at a certain frequency, right? Then can't we just eradicate the healthcare system by learning more about that and applying that to our health? Learning how to turn our frequency back to a homeostasis? Why can't we do that? I believe there's a lot more easier and simple ways to fix all of these problems, but we're stuck in the money trap, right? As long as we're so caught up in making money, we can't actually do anything that will evolve civilization. We just won't. On a collective level, we are so, we say history repeats itself, right? That's a saying that's stuck in our subconscious. as a collective. History repeats itself, right? So right there, we are setting ourselves up to be stuck in the past. We don't actually have to believe that. And that's why nothing is really true. Nothing really exists until we make it exist. We have that kind of power. And so it's the same thing on an individual level. We can decide what is true to us. We can decide what exists to us. But sometimes we might have to remove ourselves from what we know, what we've been doing, our routines, our patterns, maybe our job, like our everyday life. Maybe we need like a negative event to happen to give us a huge shake. Wake up. Yeah, I love reading. I really do love reading. But lately I've been thinking that information is just a recollection of the past. It's outdated. And if we're just consuming the same information, regurgitating the same information, and we're not thinking anything unique, we're not thinking of anything from our heart, our soul, we're not actually thinking our thoughts, but we're regurgitating the thoughts of other people. It's like, I'm just continuing the cycle of living in the past. That's what I think. So I don't know. I think gaining information is great to increase your consciousness to a certain level, but eventually we got to start getting lessons from the inside, or you could say our higher self, whatever. Ever since I moved, I grew up in the same hometown, and I just decided to move across the country, really pretty much on a whim, honestly. And since I moved, I've really been questioning, like, what the hell is this? When you lose your identity, when you lose what's familiar to you, that's what can wake you up. And I've just been thinking a lot about time. If we are fully present, okay, we are not stuck in the past, or we're not worrying about the future. If we are just fully present, time doesn't exist. Time does not exist if you are fully engrossed in the present moment. We know that time flies by. Sorry, these cats are just chilling right now. When we stay present, when we are fully present, we lose that identity. We lose the ego. We lose our conscious mind, the part of our mind that is aware of everything, that like upholds our ego and our image that we have picked up through years and years of living and getting stuck in our ways. But usually when we look at something, we're not usually looking at it for what it is, but our built up recollection from the past, our memory, determines what it is. And so if we're stuck, if we can't make any progress, sometimes we have to kind of let go of our memory. Sometimes we have to let go of our identity. And we have to shut things down. We got to shut that road down a little bit. And then we can decide what identity we want to instill. But if we're always busy, if we're consumed by our job, if we don't even have like a few minutes of silence to listen to ourselves, let go of the ego, let go of our identity, and let our internal speak. Just be present. Don't try to force anything. Just see what your inside has to say, what your soul has to say. And then we can go through life kind of being led by our soul, or God, or universe, or life, universal energy, whatever. And we don't have to think so much. We don't have to control so much. We don't have to plan too much. And really, for the most part, our days should fly by if we are fully present. But if we're present, we're aligned with our heart, we're aligned with what excites us at a core, at a root level, and we're living that out, like there's no room for anxiety, depression, worry, stress. I keep finding myself stuck in old patterns. I keep having to remind myself, you gotta release the old. You gotta release the old. You gotta step into the new. Like, how do I free myself and become infinite? How do I free myself from everything controlling me from the past, step fully into the present, and then from the present moment, the raw, unfiltered, spontaneous present moment is where I have the power to make a new decision that will create a new future for myself. And the ego, yes, the ego is necessary. If we did not have the ego, if we did not have an identity, we wouldn't be able to make sense of the world. So it is good and bad. Sometimes I lose my ego. My girlfriend lost her ego in the stands at a volleyball game. She had an out-of-body experience. Her consciousness left her body, left the past, left what she knows, and really stepped into the full present. And she saw how things were connected. She was really fathoming at how life got to be this way. But I don't know, this video was just a lot. Let me know what you think about it. Throw me some comments. Let me see what you think. Peace.